Welcome everybody. Just please stand by for a moment while I get everything shared out to the proper places. Alright everybody, good afternoon. Hope everybody's having a good day. You're probably going to be hearing a lot of noise, static noise in the background. I'm kind of working a tin can out here, so we got a storm going on. But hopefully it's not too loud to where it's a distraction. This video we're going to go over, I got a job from a customer, and they wanted me to recreate a fraternity shield, and the picture I got wasn't the greatest. It was basically a camera picture, which is fine. You can work with that, but I wanted to kind of show you how I did it, and kind of how, I mean, it's pretty simple. With a few tools, I use CorelDRAW, and it works out great. So what we're going to do is go ahead and take a look at CorelDRAW, and I'll kind of go through what I did, and then go straight to where I'm at now. So first thing is get into CorelDRAW. Okay, so this is the image that I was sent from the customer. Now, I took out some defining details just to keep the details of who this is for out, but I kept the rough outline of it, and so that's what we're going to go off of. Alright, so you have an image like this that they're wanting you to do a perimeter cutout. Basically just a contour cut around the object. Alright, the best tool for something like this that I've found is your B-spline. The B-spline is a wonderful tool. Very forgiving, and we've had some people show how to use this before, but basically you just pick a spot, any spot, and I'm going to go ahead and make this red so you can see it, but just make, basically left click every so often around the object. Obviously you want to be a little bit more detailed than what I'm being now. I'm just kind of going through the motions for you so you can see how it's all done. Alright, once you get to a point, you need to double click it. Not rapidly, but just click and then click again, because what that does is it resets the start point. Because if you don't, and I'll show you when we get back to the other side what happens with a sharp point when you're using this B-spline tool. It's wanting to, as if you notice, it's following the curve of the image. Okay, and then down here it kind of gets, you got to backtrack a little bit, so you do several dots at once. You just keep following it. Granted, if you're doing this for somebody, you're going to probably take a little bit more time. But again, I'm just doing this kind of in a sped up version to get the point across. Okay. You just follow the center line. Or some pictures you'll get, they'll be kind of fuzzy. This one happened to have some pretty decent defining lines, so it's pretty easy to follow the edge. Whereas some are fuzzy and you got to kind of estimate where everything's at or where it should be. Alright, So as we get back up here to this point, I want to show you what this does. Now, say you make a point out here. All you got to do is hit your backspace button, and it'll take you right back to the last node that you modified. And if you got to go back a few, you can hit backspace a few, and then you can start all over. So if you mess up, it's not that big a deal. Once you get to this point, I don't know. See if I can show you how it did it here. So this is not showing my path, it's showing, so there's my path there. Now just for simplicity, if you notice here how the line is kind of round. Well, if you don't if you don't click twice in that area, it's going to be more like that, because these 2 points are trying to find a common radius to follow. So if you don't double point or double click on it, then you're going to lose that corner. Then if you wanted to make the corner a little bit more pronounced, you could play around with it a little bit until you get it more so where you want it. Okay. So now that that's done, we'll say that's done for now. You just follow it all the way back around to the last node, and then it'll highlight, and it'll come out like this. Okay, so this is the finished product with the cutouts in the center that I had to do, and this is the outline of that image, and it's been scaled up so that I can have it ready to cut. Trying to see if there's any questions going on here. Alright, well, it's not linking to chat, so I can't see if anybody's saying anything or asking any questions, unfortunately. But at any rate, so now we're at this point. So now we want to cut it. Now there's two options. You know, if you're on an Apple or a Mac or whatever, you're gonna have to probably save this as a DXF and export it, and then plug the USB into your machine. So I don't believe they have software for that. If anybody knows otherwise, please feel free to share. But if you have a PC, you can use the macros, and what the macros does is the macros brings up and it basically authorizes Corel to talk to Boss, or to ArtieWorks, and ArtieWorks to talk to Corel. And these are all your different macros you have. And then here's the ArtieWorks V8. Now, if you want a tutorial on this, I can go over it later, or I can do that later. Is how to set that up. But right now, that's basically how that works. Okay, so I'm going to use the macros to go to ArtieWorks, and what that's going to do is, you'll see here, is it's going to go into my ArtieWorks. I go to my ArtieWorks, and here it is. Okay. Now, Sorry about that. Let me go back and show you again. I don't think that went through. But anyways, so okay, so now we're on there. You can see what I'm doing. We're just gonna go ahead and click on that macros button, and it's gonna take us to ArtieWorks. Now, ArtieWorks comes up, and the design shows up with ArtieWorks, or within ArtieWorks, and then you have to make a few changes to it. Okay, so this is, it's almost 4 feet tall and 2 feet wide. So obviously with my bed, I have a 3655, that's not going to work. So you highlight everything, you go up to rotate, type in 90 and enter, and now it repositions your graphic on the field. Alright, bear with me a second. This stuff isn't working. Alright, so I guess that's not going to work. Yeah, so that ain't gonna work. So anyways, so now that we got that in ArtieWorks, we got it rotated, we know what we're looking at, we know what we're wanting to do. Now, what we can do is make sure we have our orientation right as far as the green dot. If you guys have a message or comment, please just go ahead and leave it in the video and then in the comment section, and I will answer it or get back to it as soon as I can. I apologize that this isn't working for some reason, but anyways, so now if you look here, my orientation or origination point is in the middle. I need it to be, or I want it to be up in the top right corner, because that's where I like to start things from. Okay, so you highlight everything, you go up to your configuration system settings, and then click on where you want on the field to go. Your top right, middle, top left, middle, top right, so on and so forth down. I guess it didn't show that, did it? It's not showing it. Hold on a second. I'm gonna fix this. It's not showing. Come on. Alright, so we'll do it this way. That way you can actually see what I'm doing. Alright, so now that we got that straight, what we have here is we're going to go ahead, we already set our orientation, now we need to come up here. Since I have two different colors, I have a black, which is my outline that I want to cut out, and I have the blue that I want to cut out. Well, I want the blue to cut first. Right now it says scan, but I want to put it at priority number 1. That moves it to the top, so it cuts it first. The reason I do this is because if you cut out the outside first, depending on what you're doing, then you go to cut the center out. If something shifts when you do the original cut, then you're going to have a problem. So I like to do that first. That way I don't forget. And then what I did is I'm changing this from scan. I'm setting up my settings. I'm cutting 1/2" birch. I usually use 80 and 8. 80% power on a 150 watt laser at 8 millimeters a second. Now this can be different for anybody. It just depends on what you go for. It's a number that I'm consistent with, and that doesn't give me any problems generally. Sometimes it won't cut through, it just depends on the wood. But for the most part, I do good here. But anyways, I like to use laser through mode. Now you can do a couple different things when you're cutting. I like to just do through power. It usually works just fine. Sometimes, depending on the material, you might want to use your open delay or your closed delay, and that just allows the beam to come on a little bit later, a little bit sooner. But generally I don't mess with that because there's a lot involved in that I don't think is really necessary. It's more technical than I like to be. But anyways, so now I got everything set. My blue's set to cut first, my black's set to cut second, and they're both sitting at 80% power at 8 millimeters a second. So I've already got my machine on. I'm going to go ahead and download it. I just usually use default because with the Boss control board, you can only hold so much information on there. So I don't like to overload it. So now that we've got that done, we'll move over to the laser. Okay. That's coming out. I don't know why this is not working. So now move on to the laser. I have my camera already mounted. You can kind of see the frame of it here. First thing I want to do is I want to straighten everything up. I want to get my autofocus done. So I'm going to bring everything close. Maybe a little too close, but all right. So I'm gonna what I have here is I have the gantry alignment jig that I got. You can find it at the link up here. What I'll do with that is I'm going to go ahead and position it for doing large items, and I have it pre-marked on my gantry with Sharpie. I have it done that way. I have a mark for large items, and I also have for small items slash rotary, to align the rotary to the gantry. Just simple adjustment. One Allen head screw, I think it's a 2.5 if I'm not mistaken. No, 3.5. Stick it up in there, tighten it down. Alright, next thing I do is I had to change out my legs. I had the long ones on there for my rotary. So I want to put those on and keep them up out of the way for now because I have to do my Z height. Alright, so now got that done. I'm going to go ahead and do my autofocus. Now that my autofocus is done, I want to align everything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my feet down. To a good height so I know where they're at. Fold it up out of the way. Take it down. Just so it's catching the edge of the material. I'll go ahead and go to the back of the machine. I'll lower my legs. And then I'll just use the x-axis to straighten the material out. Now the material is straight with the machine, with the gantry. Just flip my legs up out of the way. Then I want to load my file, make sure I got the right thing in there. Now I'm going to find my corner, and I'll frame it out. So I want to make sure I have plenty of room. Okay. And now that we got that done, I'm going to go ahead and fire up the chiller and we'll get started on cutting. I hope everybody can hear me okay. I'm trying to keep the volume down so we don't have any issues with the rain coming and hitting the roof. So at any rate, so now we're all set with that. Close the lid. Just adjusting this a little bit. There. Alright. Now we're all set. I got air. I usually use between 60 and 80 psi. It's set at 80 right now, but as soon as I hit start, it's going to drop down probably 70, 60 or 70. But yeah, so I lost 10 psi when I hit the start button. I need to get a dimmer switch. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to throw them out there while we're watching this cut. It's going to take a little bit. I actually got 2 sets to do, but I'm not gonna stay live for both sets. So I had one person already asked to do some video, or do a video with doing pass-through, using your pass-through doors, and I plan on doing that, I don't know, maybe next week. I don't really have any jobs lined up to do something like that right now, but I'll probably just do something small and simple, just to get the kind of get the point across. If you're watching this, all this is done on a Boss laser, so 3655 with a 150 watt laser tube. Just running regular compressed air. I got my configuration set up a little bit different than most, but I use the Cobalt QuietTech 26 gallon. It works really well. It has 2 outputs for tools. One of them goes to my hose reel for my power tools, my air tools that are in my wood shop, and then the other lead comes out here for all the air for everything else out here, which really is just a laser. And then I have a cleanup gun go around and dust things off with it. Sorry I don't have much light on there. Every time I try to use the light, the glare, I think, messes stuff up. You can't really see it that well, but I gotta reposition the LED lights that way you can see things a little bit better, or put a dimmer on them. here in a few weeks, I should have quite a few videos going. I got a cool little project I'm helping work on, and hopefully I'll be able to get it to work for the Boss, because the system wasn't originally designed for Boss, but we're trying to incorporate it into it, and that's kind of where I'm helping out with that. So hopefully here in the not too distant future, we'll have a new product for the Boss users, especially the ones that like to do photographs and things of that nature. This will be something that you should really like. But if you want to follow or find out what I'm talking about, go to the Dude with a Laser on Facebook, and you can view his page or their page and see all the updates and what's going on with this setup that will hopefully be coming to Boss lasers soon. That's where you're going to get all your updated information about anything to do with it. So if you have any questions or comments, concerns, you can bring it up with them. So this cutout, like I said, is half inch birch plywood, and I'm using a 4-inch lens with the large nozzle, and my distance is 10.8 millimeters away from the substrate. Running the 150 watt laser at 80% power at 8 millimeters a second typically gives me a nice golden brown edge. Again, sometimes it don't. It just depends on the material. But typically that's what I get out of it. It's a nice power. It's a nice speed. I think we're doing a lot of cutouts. So if you're wanting to play around with it, see what you can do. The idea is to try to use as little power and go as fast as you can, but you have to have a trade-off. If you're going with more power, you need more speed. If you go with less power, you need less speed. So you got to have that trade-off. Another thing when you're doing a lot of cutting, you're putting a lot of air through the system, and if you don't have a good means to dry the air out, if you don't have a filter, if you don't have a desiccant or whatever you use, I don't believe there's such thing as too much precaution when it comes to cutting with a laser. Engraving, it still applies, but generally when you're engraving, you're not going to produce as much moisture as you are when you're cutting. So make sure you have a good air dryer system, because you don't want water to get in there and onto your lens when you're doing this, because if you do, the lens can and probably will shatter, because or it'll leave burn marks in the lens that you can't clean off or you can't buff out, and you'll have to get a new lens. Typically, the lenses I go with, Let's see if I can find the Cloud Ray. Cloud Ray lenses are what I typically go with, mainly because the quality standards that they have is incredible, and not to mention most of their stuff is made in the U.S. It's higher quality, it lasts longer, and you just get an overall better lens. And the price, I mean, the price is comparable. I mean, you find something on Amazon or whatever for 25, 30 bucks, you might pay $5 more for a Cloud Ray, but you're going to get the peace of mind and knowing that you're going to have a good lens for a while. You know, that's just my personal opinion. I'm not advertising for them or anything, but that's just it, with my experience. Cloud Ray is the better place to go. Alright, so it looks like we're done. Let the smoke clear a little bit. Alright, so as you can see, everything's cut through. There's a couple stubborn areas. For the most part, everything cut through nice and clean. Right. And then you get that nice golden brown edge. No burn marks, no scorching, just nice and clean cuts. Same with these here. Well, that's two of them out of the way. I got one more to do, but like I said, I'm not gonna stay on here for the last one. I'll let you guys go. But if you have any questions with the video, please you can feel free to contact me. If you have something to add to what I discussed, please feel free to do so. I don't pretend to know everything, so if anybody has any information that might be above and beyond what I have, feel free by all means. Just let me know. That way we all have the information we need. And yeah. So at any rate, until next time, I'll probably have some more coming out. Don't think I'll be doing anything else this weekend. This is pretty much my last project for the weekend. I'm gonna enjoy a long weekend. As you know, Easter's coming up Sunday. I hope everybody has a happy Easter, and we'll see you back first part of next week, and I'll have more stuff for you. And again, if you have any questions, please bring them up. If you want to see some content, let me know. I'm always looking for new stuff to talk about, new stuff to do. So if you have something of interest, please just bring it up. Let me know. That way I can get something put together and put out here for you guys. If you would, actually. Alright, well, I'm going to let you go. We'll see you guys next time. And hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, share, ring the bell so you can be notified when new stuff comes out. And hopefully we'll see you next time.